Some objects are just things. They can be bought, sold, or forgotten. But a precious few, are time capsules. They hold memories, secrets, and the ghosts of people we've lost. For a powerful CEO, a simple fountain pen was the last piece of a father he barely knew. And for a poor waiter struggling to survive, that same pen was a ticking time bomb, about to either save his life or shatter it into a million pieces. He had no idea that by trying to do the right thing, he was about to unlock a secret that had been buried for 25 years. Leo worked at the Gilded Lantern, a restaurant so exclusive that the silverware was worth more than his entire apartment. At 23, his life was a repeating cycle of exhaustion, bussing tables, forcing polite smiles, and counting the few dollars in tips he needed to pay for his mother's ever-increasing medical bills. He moved through the opulent dining room like a ghost, trained to be invisible, to serve the city's elite without ever being truly seen by them. His mother, Sarah, was his entire world. A cruel illness had confined her to a small, worn-out armchair in their tiny apartment, but her spirit remained bright. Her only remaining treasure was a small, dusty box of memories from a life she barely spoke of, a life before Leo, a life with a man he never knew, his father. "He was a good man, Leo," she would whisper, her voice weak. "An artist. He loved beautiful things." She would never say more, and a deep sadness would cloud her eyes. One Tuesday evening, the restaurant was buzzing. A new titan of industry had booked the main private dining room, Alistair Vance, the cold, ruthless CEO of Vance Global Enterprises. He was a man who had built an empire from nothing, known for his sharp mind and even sharper tongue. He arrived with his team, a whirlwind of expensive suits and palpable tension. Leo was assigned to their table. He worked flawlessly, his movements quiet and efficient. He refilled water glasses, cleared plates, and endured the condescending glances of Alistair's executives. Alistair himself never even looked at him, his focus entirely on the billion-dollar deal being discussed. The only thing Leo noticed about the CEO was the magnificent fountain pen he used to sign documents. It was a deep, shimmering blue with intricate silver engravings. It looked like a piece of art. After a grueling 3 hours, the deal was done. The Vans Global team left in a wave of triumphant chatter. As Leo began to clear the debris of the expensive meal, his eyes caught a glint of blue under the table. It was the pen, the CEO's magnificent pen. Leo's heart pounded. He knew this pen was worth a fortune. It could pay for his mother's medicine for months. The temptation was a physical ache in his chest. Who would know? A man like Vance probably has 100 of these. For a moment, he pictured his mother's relieved smile. But then he pictured her disappointed eyes if she ever found out. She had raised him with one simple rule. We may be poor, Leo, but we are not poor in character. With a heavy sigh, he picked up the pen. It felt weighty, important. He slipped it into his pocket, vowing to return it. The next day, Leo took the bus to the Vance Global Tower, a skyscraper that pierced the clouds. The lobby was a cathedral of marble and glass. He felt small, out of place in his simple clothes. The receptionist looked at him with disdain. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone making it clear she doubted it. I'm here to see Mr. Vance," Leo stammered. "I found something he lost." She laughed. "Mr. Vance doesn't see people without an appointment. Leave it with me." Leo clutched the pen in his pocket. He didn't trust her. "I have to give it to him personally," he insisted. His persistence annoyed her. She was about to call security when a side door opened and Alistair Vance himself strode out, barking orders into his phone. He was about to walk right past Leo without a glance. "Mr. Vance!" Leo called out, his voice trembling. Alistair stopped, annoyed by the interruption. He turned, his cold gray eyes finally landing on Leo. What? You left this pen at the restaurant last night, sir. I wanted to return it. Alistair's harsh expression faltered. He stared at the pen, then at Leo, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. He took the pen, his fingers brushing against Leo's. For a split second, he seemed in a trance. Then the mask of the ruthless CEO returned. Right. Thank you, he said dismissively, turning to leave. Wait, Leo said, not knowing why. That pen, it's beautiful. Is it old? Alistair stopped again, his back still to Leo. His voice, when he spoke, was different, softer. He said quietly, "It was my father's. It was the only thing of value he left me." And with that, he walked away, leaving Leo standing alone in the vast, cold lobby. Leo did the right thing, even when it was hard. He chose character over cash. How many of us would have made the same choice? If you believe in the power of honesty, hit that like button and subscribe, because the story of this pen is far from over. A secret is about to be revealed that will connect these two men in a way neither could have ever imagined. Leo returned to his life, the brief encounter with the billionaire already fading like a dream. But for Alistair Vance, the encounter had shaken something loose. That night in his penthouse apartment, he didn't work. He just held the blue fountain pen. It was his last connection to a ghost, a father who had vanished from his life when he was just 5 years old. His mother had told him his father was an artist, a dreamer who couldn't handle the responsibilities of a family and had simply left. The pen was the only thing he'd left behind. Alistair had built his empire on logic and ruthlessness, a direct rebellion against the flighty, artistic father he despised yet secretly yearned for. But something about the waiter, his earnest eyes, his insistence on returning the pen personally, it felt familiar. On a whim, Alistair called his head of security. "That waiter who came to the office today, find out who he is."
2 days later, Leo was fired. His manager at the restaurant gave him a flimsy excuse about budget cuts. Leo was devastated. The tips from that job were their only lifeline. That evening, as he was trying to figure out how to tell his mother, there was a knock on their apartment door. It was a woman in a sharp suit. "Leo Miller?" she asked. "Mr. Alistair Vance would like to see you." Fear and confusion warred inside Leo. Was he in trouble? Did the CEO think he had tried to steal the pen? He was driven back to the Vance Global Tower, but this time he was taken up to the penthouse office. Alistair Vance was standing by the window, staring out at the city. The blue pen was on his desk. "You had me investigated," Alistair said, his voice flat. "My team discovered you were fired this morning. I assure you that was not my doing. An overzealous manager at the restaurant, it seems." He paused. "They also found out about your mother, her medical records." Leo felt a surge of anger. "You had no right!" Alistair turned from the window. For the first time, the mask of the CEO was gone. His face looked tired, vulnerable. "Your mother's name is Sarah Miller. Before that, it was Sarah Vance, wasn't it?" The world stopped. Leo couldn't breathe. "My security team found this," Alistair said, sliding a yellowed old newspaper clipping across the desk. It was a wedding announcement. A young, smiling Sarah stood next to a handsome man with kind eyes, a man holding a familiar blue fountain pen in his jacket pocket. The groom's name was Daniel Vance, Alistair's father. "My father didn't abandon us," Alistair said, his voice thick with an emotion Leo had never imagined. "He and my mother divorced. He met your mother a year later. They fell in love. They got married." He pointed to another document, a birth certificate, for Leo Miller. Father's name, Daniel Vance. Leo sank into a chair, his mind reeling. "But my mother told me he was an artist who left." "He was an artist," Alastair said, picking up a dusty portfolio from the corner of the room. He opened it. It was filled with beautiful, vibrant sketches. Portraits of a young, happy Sarah. Sketches of a baby, Leo. "He didn't leave. He died. A car accident just before your 2nd birthday. My mother, she never told me he had remarried. She let me believe he had abandoned us all." The two men stood in silence. Two strangers bound by the ghost of a man they barely knew. Two brothers. "That pen," Leo whispered, looking at the object that had started it all. "My mother told me my father loved beautiful things. It was his favorite. He designed it himself. He was an artist, after all." He looked at Leo, his eyes filled with a lifetime of pain and newfound understanding. "He didn't leave me much, but he left me you." That day, everything changed. Alastair paid for all of Sarah's medical treatments, moving her into the best hospital in the country. She and Alastair had a long, tearful conversation, finally healing wounds that had festered for decades. Alastair offered Leo a position at his company, but Leo politely refused. Instead, with Alastair's help, he enrolled in art school, wanting to connect with the father he never knew through the passion they now shared. The blue fountain pen sat on a stand in Alastair's office, no longer just a memory of loss, but a symbol of connection. It had traveled through time, from a father to a son, and then had been returned by another. It was a simple object, a thing, but it had brought two brothers together, proving that the most valuable things in life aren't things at all, but the family we thought we had lost forever. Leo's honesty didn't just earn him a reward, it gave him back a part of his past and a future he never dreamed of. It gave a lonely billionaire the one thing his money could never buy: a brother. If this story reminds you of the power of character and family, help us share it by subscribing. Every week we share stories that prove that even in the darkest times, a single act of integrity can change everything.